My name is Chris, and today I have the Record Store Day Black Friday release list, and we're going to try to answer the question, is RSD getting too big for its britches? Welcome to the Vinyl Attack. So Record Store Day Black Friday is doing something that it hasn't done before, which is releasing 3 separate categories in the list. First, they have exclusives. These titles are physically released only at indie record stores. Stands to reason, but that's also, in my personal opinion, the only way it should be. However, we now have RSD first. These titles are found first at indie record stores, but may be released to other retailers or web stores sometime in the future. I am not a fan of this at all. As a small business owner, I don't like the idea that they're taking away something that was intended originally to help small independent record stores. That's where I go to buy my records. Very rarely will I go to a big store. Sometimes if I'm out, let's say I'm shopping and I happen to be at a Target and I see something I really want, or a Best Buy and I see a record I really want, okay, that has happened maybe a half a dozen times in the last several years. I support local businesses because I own one. Now, of course, not everybody can do that. I realize that Walmart is the only store for a lot of people because they don't have a local record store, and that absolutely sucks. But having Record Store Day titles now that will presumably be on Amazon and Walmart, I think it's a pile of shit. I don't particularly care for it. I would rather see that not happen because you're taking away... We've already had people complaining for the last several years that it's gotten so big that it's not even about the records anymore. It's not about the music. It's not about helping the stores. It's just about turning a buck. Well, to be fair, owning a business is about turning a buck. That's how you support yourself, and I get that, but this does feel like a bit of an overreach, in my personal opinion. Then they have small run and regional titles. These titles are either regionally based and sold at specific stores or are press runs under 1,000, which means they are maybe harder to find at record stores around the country. You think? If a title is regionally based and is not available throughout the country, it will say that in the description. The majority of titles in this section on the list are there because they have a limited run. That's not as bad. However, I took a look at this list and they are all at 1,000 or less, and that means it's going to be very hard to get your hands on these. I'm reminded immediately of the Craft One Steps of John Coltrane and Yusuf Lateef, which sold out in a matter of seconds. Now, that was online, of course, but some of these titles, they're pretty cool. So let's go over the list. First and foremost, the exclusives. Things I'm looking forward to, All Them Witches. I freaking love that band. Can Heat with Memphis Slim. I love the work that Ken Heat did with John Lee Hooker. John Carpenter of the Ghost of Mars soundtrack. That is super cool. That's it on the first page for me, although they do have a couple of releases from Dio. They're both picture discs. I don't care for those, but one thing that did happen this time around, there are not very many picture discs on this list at all. I don't know if that's because of feedback from the record community or if it just happened to work out that way, but either way, I'm kind of happy. What has replaced them a little bit, though, are cassettes, of all things. I think there's like 6 cassettes, but at any rate, they have Billie Eilish, Fleetwood Mac, Evanescence. There's some pretty good, Sam Cooke, Leonard Cohen. There's some pretty good things there. The Reverend Horton Heat, I would like to get my hands on that. Jimi Hendrix Experience from Paris in '67. Probably going to want to pick that up. Iron Maiden, which I love. Picture disc. So they only did a few of them, but of course, the one album I really wanted, but that's all right. King's X, Mr. Bulbous. We had a feeling that was going to be released, and it is. Motorhead, live in Madrid in '95. That needs to come home with me because I freaking love Motorhead. Ozzy Osbourne. This one I find interesting. They're doing No More Tears, which people have been clamoring for re-release for years, and they're doing it on a 12-inch picture disc. I'm kind of bummed about that myself, so I won't be picking that up. It's a bummer. They're doing looks like they're doing a lot of hair metal stuff too, because they got Poison on this list as well. What else? Chris Isaac, Jackson 5, Michael Kamen, Little Feat. Decent stuff. There's some stuff that I haven't seen before. Stray Cats, live at Rock Blast. That's a 3 LP set, but they only made 1750. So that one is going to be pretty hard to find, and I bet you it's going to be expensive because the guys who like the Stray Cats, like myself, we want this album. I miss the Stray Cats. I really wish Brian Setzer... I love his Christmas thing. It's great and all, but I really wish we would just take the original boys on tour one last time. Tesla, Mechanical Resonance. I freaking love Tesla. I really do. So I'm happy because they've been re-releasing all of their albums, their early albums, and the pressings are excellent quality. They sound fantastic, so I'm definitely going to try to pick that up. What else? Smith Kotzen, that'll be pretty cool. Joe Strummer. Weird Al has got something coming out. So then we have the limited local runs. Now on here, none of this says the region. So I'm assuming, because according to their press release, these are going to be found, well, if you can get them, but they're going to be nationwide. They're not specifically to a region, but they are very limited run. Thelonious Monk, I would love to get a hold of that. Only 1,000 copies. That is going to be a pain in the ass. The Bee Gees, no thanks. David Crosby, Night Ranger, Twisted. On behalf of Michigan, I would like to apologize for Twisted and ICP. We took a hit on that. I'm sorry about that. But they're doing a 7-inch that's going to be 1,000 copies. Around here, that's going to sell like crazy. Tyranny Tough, I'm not familiar with it at all. 250 copies. This is where the false sense of inflation comes in because they're creating a limited market. I don't particularly care for it. I think this is what's going to suck the soul out of Record Store Day. And I know many people feel like it's already been done. But when I go there, I really enjoy myself. Standing in line early in the morning. The people, for me, Record Store Day, it's not just the records. It's talking to the record store owner. It's talking to the people in line. It's that shared community of standing there for hours on end, trying to get the one thing or 7 things that you have on your list. That's Record Store Day, and that is not dead. But they're making it very hard to be supportive when they have such small runs. I don't know. I don't understand that one, and I'm kind of unhappy about it. Equally unhappy, almost, is the Record Store Day Black Friday first releases. So these can potentially go to Amazon, Walmart, as we were discussing before. But this list is almost as long as the first one, is the first section, which is the RSD only. That doesn't sit well with me. On here, you've got some big stuff. You've got Aerosmith, Chet Baker, Blackberry Smoke, Canned Heat, All By Itself, Ray Charles, Alice Cooper, Miles Davis, Screaming Jay Hawkins. I have a feeling that one's going to be pretty hot, and they only made 1,300 copies of that. Judas Priest, that should be pretty good, only 2,000 copies. LA Guns, which kind of surprised me, and James LaBrie. I didn't even know he had a solo record, let alone a double LP. They only did 1,000 of those. Personally, I know James is a really nice guy. I like his voice with Dream Theater, but even then he can be hit and miss, and I don't think I'll be picking up his solo stuff. Sorry. Modern English, Mr. Big, lean into it. I've got to have that. I learned how to play To Be With You because back in the day when that came out, that was a huge thing for the girls. That's how you met girls, was playing sappy acoustic love song stuff, and that was a huge hit, so I've got to pick that up. Not to mention, like, the players on that album are fantastic. Charlie Parker, Bird in L.A., that is going to be a 4 LP or a 2 CD set. They don't mention how many they've made. Hopefully enough, because I would love to get my hands on that. Saigon Kick, The Lizard. That's another one. Love Is On The Way. I had to learn that song too because that was number one. It's a cool song, but number two, the girls love that stuff. But they just released. I forget the name of the album, but they just did a release a few months back. I think it was of their first album, and it was a limited release. Sounds fantastic. So I'm hoping for the same thing here. There's 2,000 copies of this. Fingers crossed. I'd like to get my hands on that. Sun Ra, U2, Gloria, 40th anniversary. I'm not even going to apologize. I love the old U2 stuff. I think that stuff is fantastic. I think I've said that before, but I'm definitely going to try to get my hands on that. 7,000 copies. That shouldn't be too hard to do. And then on the back here, we don't have much in the various artists. So there's Steve Zissou is really probably the big soundtrack for this list right here. They have Nancy Wilson. That might be pretty popular. You know, I know she's got a huge fan base, and rightfully so. She's very talented. But that's the list. There are definitely things that I want, and I'm looking forward to picking up my bestie Wendy and making her get up at 5 in the morning because she loves that, and then going down to the record store and hanging out all day to try to get what we want. There's definitely some things I want, but I'm almost more concerned with the new direction. Right now, the feeling I have is I want to be excited because whenever the list comes out, it's kind of like that kid Christmas thing. You know, you get so excited and you can't wait to see the list, like what's coming out, what's new in the JCPenney catalog. That's for old timers. But all I can really think about is what is the future of RSD? Is this, not immediately of course, but is this the beginning of the end, so to speak? And not of RSD, but just Has it gotten too big? Is it going to collapse under its own weight? I would really like to know what you have to say about it as well, because I'm sure this is going to be a very hot topic. I don't like it. I don't like selling to the big retailers, because this was created to help indie stores, and that should be the focus. We already have enough trouble with scalpers. We don't need to pad the pockets of anybody at Amazon or Walmart, because those CEOs make more money than God. So I'm frustrated. I'm going to have a good time, because Record Store Day for me, again, it's about the community, and I'm going to enjoy every minute that I'm there. I see the same faces now almost every time, and it's wonderful. It's like old friends in a way, even though you only spend a total of maybe 6 or 8 hours a year with them. It's wonderful. So I'm going to look forward to that, but I just have this uneasiness, and I think you can kind of tell. I don't know. Let me know what you think about it. I'm dying to know, because I'm sure, again, this is going to be pretty controversial. But that's going to do it for today. Thanks for dropping by, and I look forward to next time.